walk that I'm blessed. See the love of God in my flex, I'm so blessed. 20K just on my chain, say less. I text every day to get dressed, so blessed. Been through the storm and the rain, still blessed. Had a couple heartaches and pain, still blessed. Handle the pressure from fame, still blessed. Just God called my name, so blessed.
Yes, sir, I'm blessed, don't play boy, cause I got it mad. Tailor made just for this fit, I'm gon' cut the slack. I'm the man, good hearted shorty with me acting bad. Shout out to mans that done tightened up since they became a dad. Shout out to me.
Welcome back to another episode. This is episode 17 of the Cobain Report. I am Rock Cobain. This is
T-Mail.
And all the way over there today is
Caesar, and I'm in here. That's my hard camera.
And you know the vibes. Today we have a great guest, a very special guest to me. Somebody, oh my God. I've known probably over 3/4 of my life for sure. I think I was like 7, 8 years old when I first met him back with Auntie Wanda days. But I'm going to let T-Mail get into the introduction.
Yeah, we're going to get straight to it. We have with us here today a miracle. Next week on March 29th, it will be 4 years since he beat the fatal COVID-19. He used his life-threatening experience to go for his dreams. He is a movie producer, a music director, a creator of a streaming platform, among other skills and talents we will get into. Ladies and gentlemen, we have here none other than Joe Smith. Woo! Millionaire Joe if you feeling rich.
Yes, sir.
He grabbed me because he know we about to go crazy with this interview. This is another one of those interviews that I was looking forward to. Like I said, I've been knowing Joe Smith. I remember being young, winding Road Butler days and just being around and seeing you young and didn't even know. And then I remember being about 14 and you dropped your first album and set everything on fire. And I was like, wait, that's the dude who used to play for Auntie Wanda back in the day. Like, I remember him. So for me, this is a great interview, man. And then you've changed your life since COVID. I mean, I know you in one capacity, but I mean, you have flourished in others.
Yeah,
thank you. More than just one or two. I'm going to go ahead and let T-Mail get into it because he got some stuff for you.
Okay. All right, let's
go. Most definitely, man. I want to know, throughout this journey, starting, with music directing and then going from there, like with the experience you had from COVID and going after the movies and everything. How was that transition?
Transition was, it was natural. I started playing for different groups and artists and stuff like that when I was a teenager. Back then the music scene here was thriving. Yes. It was crazy. It was so many groups, so many choirs, so many musicals, so many concerts, so it was like that's where we honed our craft. But I always had this ambition to do more, so even producing my first album, I think I did that album when I was like 20, 21, something like that. And, all of the guys that we looked up to, the Thomas Whitfields and, the Michael Fletchers and, all of the great musicians that came out of here, it was like we aspired to be that. So going after that, producing my first record, it was like, okay, this cool, but now I want to do more. And getting out on the road. I was a music director for Dorinda Clark Cole for like 18 years. MD for the Clark sisters, Kiara, Karen, individually as well as with the sisters. But how I got that was I was MDing for Chris Jones in Word of Praise.
Shout out to Word of Praise.
Yeah, back in the day. So
yeah, that's what they used to do back in the day. Rest in peace, huh?
Yes, sir. So rest in peace, Chris. So I always believe that everything you do sets you up for the next thing. And a lot of times we get complacent in one thing instead of gleaning and learning from that so you can go to the next level. So I went from, the first step was doing the music director thing, but then I started doing stage plays. So I was music director for a play called Perilous Times. Shout out to TJ Hemphill.
Yeah, TJ and the son.
Yeah.
Shout out to my boy TJ. I know you coming on. I know. We talked about it.
Yes, sir. And so, but here's a thing, and here's a key that has been a secret to my success. Whenever I'm in an environment, so let's say, if I was on this podcast, I don't know nothing about doing a podcast, I would be paying attention to everything. I'd be looking at like what kind of mics are these? Like what kind of board is he on over there? You know what I'm saying? Like I always pay attention to what's going on because that's how I learned. So being a music director for a stage play, I was like, okay, this is how they do this. So I did my own stage play. So doing stage plays is how I learned how to write scripts. And that was another stepping stone to doing movies.
So you literally set yourself up along the way just from watching, and each step you basically just took another step up. Like, okay, I can do this. I mean, music directing and plays kind of go hand in hand, man.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
I remember a lot of the plays. I was gonna say he came from one of those eras of musicians.
Yeah.
Like, shout out to all the new, as they say, the new guys on the block now. But
Man.
this is.
This is
Like, dog.
this all the greats like B Love,
Bro, I'm talking.
This
No,
like
B-Love's
Larry
still here.
Nicks.
B-Love's still with us.
Hey, look.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Love though. Like, man, like back in the day when I used to see these guys playing, that's when it was you would catch like Joe Smith, you would catch Conru, you would catch what's the real brother name? Dark skin. What's his name? Damn, I be forgetting his name. All the time. you know, keyboard. Start with a D.
You know who
You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I can't think of it.
And then you'll catch what's dog? I remember that one time y'all had DJ
Larry Tucker?
No, they had
DJ
had
Fingers?
DJ Fingers on the
Fingers
drums.
on the drums.
Yeah.
Hey, that nigga Joe kept looking back like,
Shout out to
nigga,
Uncle
what the
Fingers.
time you on,
Shout out
nigga?
to- Shout out to DJ Fingers.
Shout out
Hey,
to Fingers for sure.
No, bro, we really are blessed that we grew up with and this is what I was saying earlier, right? Like a lot of people that I know them through either relationships from my auntie Wanda or from my dad, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm obviously younger than a lot of the greats that we came up around. But to know these people and watch them grow and to watch them do their thing is crazy because we was 7 and 8 years old running around playing with wrestling buddies and all this, not realizing who we were around. This was just, it's Uncle Joe. This was just, he played the keyboard, he was quiet, he was cool, but you knew he was there for a reason.
100%.
Cause they ain't just hiring anybody.
You hear me?
Yeah, and,
You know what I mean?
we were learning from those that came before us. You know, like when I wasn't playing at a musical or at a concert, I was going to them to hear who was playing because we learning, we gleaning. You know what I mean? So, you know, shout out to David Barry and Mike Mendengal.
Oh
and,
my God, Uncle
you know,
Mike.
all them cats that
Dog.
was doing it in the 80s. So when I came along in the late 80s, it was like these was who we were going to see, you know, and then we became the next generation
y'all
of that.
did, bro.
And so
Speaking of that generation, I noticed that on your first album, you worked with Larry Whitfield. And I saw in the credits, Volley Craig.
yeah, Volley Craig.
How was it working with, of course, we all know, Volley, and we all have had our own individual personal relationships, but how was that working relationship with y'all, being that he's a legend?
It was great, man. Like I remember Volley before he played bass, he was playing drums.
He
Yeah,
sure was.
so
Sure was. Him and Lil Lindsay.
yeah,
Weed.
And so,
and weed.
Yep. And so when it was like when he started, because back then it wasn't so much of a thing to be a multi-instrumentalist.
Yeah.
So when Volley was talking about he was going to start playing bass, I was like, you about to be trash. And it was like, and so I went to, he played bass at a, I think Greater Ebenezer Church Choir concert. That was the first time I heard him on bass, and he was okay. You know what I'm saying? He was still
Figuring it out.
Yeah.
Like Jay Drew.
Yeah.
He was on bass.
And then it was like maybe 6 months to a year later, he was killing.
Yeah.
Fire.
I'm talking about, bro, I remember when he left for that Diddy, to go on the road with Diddy, right? And back then, it wasn't as easy to get on these tours like it is now, right? You had to really know somebody, dog.
Yeah.
When Volley went on that tour, bro, he was smashing.
Yeah.
I'm talking about smashing. That's when I knew. I was like, no, Volley one of them ones. And then you start saying his name on credits, and you start saying, like, I didn't even know he played the Kimberell record until after he passed away. Like, Volley was a real legend. So I know that y'all, just growing up and working together, how did that impact you when he passed away?
It was hard, man, because I had just seen him up at my studio, up at Intercourt. He was in there working with Greg Pearson, and we kicked it, and he had lost a lot of weight, and I'm like, bro, what did you do to lose all this weight? And he was sharing that with me, and so we just kicked it. We were talking about the old days a little bit, and then that was like the last time I saw him or talked to him, and so it's crazy. You never know when the last time is going to be when you talk to somebody. That's the crazy part.
The same with Red.
Yeah.
The same with a lot of the people that we've growing up with. Unfortunately, you know, like I said, I used to watch all these people come in and out of the studios, working with Marcus Divine, working with Auntie Wanda, working with these plays.
Yeah.
You know, I met Charlie Wilson. I met a lot of people by 12 and 13 years old because my auntie was on so many plays. Wanda was one of them play people back in the day.
Yep,
you know what I mean? So
yeah.
I know you said that the plays kind of affected like your movie career in that path, but do you think that music and being a church person inspired you with working with the cast and like setting you up in that kind of like role to be able to manage that because you had to manage music and groups and people for so long?
Absolutely, yeah. So that's my point, is that every level prepares you for the next level. So all the years, even starting at 16, being over the youth choir at my church, having a community choir, being a music director, what are those skill sets that you learn? You learn communication.
Yep.
You learn leadership.
Yep.
You learn being on time. You learn like all of these leadership skills that you develop that you carry with you no matter what you're doing, right? So even now, in my movie director and producer career, you know, I'm a stickler for time because when you have to shoot so many scenes a day, you got multiple locations you got to go to. Time is of the essence. So being on time is something I learned 30 years ago. You know what I
Working
mean?
in the secular world, you learn that.
Exactly. So everything prepares you for the next thing, you know, and so even to circle back around to your question, what happened was when I went in the hospital with COVID, because of course, you know, when you're doing good and doing well, you have a tendency to procrastinate on things that you want to do because you get comfortable. So you pushing things to the back burner. You're like, okay, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna get around to doing this. I'm gonna get around to doing that. But then when I went in the hospital with COVID, ended up on the ventilator, almost died. Crazy. When I came out of that, I'm like, oh, I would have took all of that to the grave with me. Dog. I would have took all my ideas, all my plans, everything. I would have took that to the grave with me. So I'm like, I'm going hard. Bro. Even if I fall, if I trip and fall, if I fail, I'm going hard. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's crazy. That's a crazy wake up reminder to know, like, yo, this could go with me if I don't do this.
Yeah, and tomorrow's not promised. So I had to repent, like, God, I'm sorry for procrastinating.
That's
you know,
the spirit of procrastination is real, bro.
Yep.
It is. And it will, especially if you, like you said, you feel like you're in a comfortable space, right? We all know, we all talk about it all the time. Like, I work in a secular field as a social worker, and I would have probably never did this podcast if I didn't stop procrastinating. I've been saying for the longest, bro, we need to get on camera and just talk. Me and him talk all day for free on the phone. Me and this fool,
right.
45 minutes, an hour. I'm like, dog, we need to find a way to capitalize this because all we do is talk. Let's just hop on let's just do it.
Yep.
Sometimes you got to just Nike that. Oh, shout out to Adidas today. But just do it. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Go ahead, TB. I know you got something.
Yeah. No, so like you said, with the many movies you've done, whether it's Dream Girl, or not Dream Girls, but Diamond Girls, a good man too. Prior to that, I seen you did a documentary called Violation or Violated. And I was wondering, like, first off, the difference between like documentaries and you know, films, but second, how were you able to, you know, get through some of those like horrific stories? Yeah.
So before that, I had done a documentary. Well, let me answer your first question first. So the difference between documentaries, I love documentaries. I love feature films. Like, they're both two different creative energies. The thing with a documentary is you can shoot those easier. It's a lot simpler. You know, you can get as complicated and complex with creating those as you want to get, or you can keep it simple. You know, from the lighting setup to the camera setup, you know, you do 2 cameras and, you know, a dome light and you good to go. A microphone, you good to go. With a feature film, it's a lot more involved. You got to hire a lot more people to make it look cinematic and to make it look right, you know, because I was just posted not too long ago that, like, you know, even how you shoot a movie, it's like the camera you use is great, but it's the lighting and having a gaffer that knows how to light
Uncle Ray over there shaking his head. Look at it, Uncle Ray.
Cinematic. Like, I've seen people who shot their movies with, 8K red cameras, and it still looked like a video because it's like it wasn't lit properly. So it gets a lot more complex when you're talking about a feature film. So that's one of the biggest differences. It's a lot more involved.
So even though you've been doing movies for a while now, do you still feel like a student of the game?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You still do a lot of research, a lot of studying?
Yeah, absolutely. Because even with what we've done so far, it's kind of like still so much to know just about the process of doing it, And I got some friends in Hollywood that do it on a huge level, and I always lean to them for information. One thing you never want to do is rest on your laurels and get comfortable where you are, especially, and it's easy to do when you get a little bit of success.
Yeah.
But,
cap.
yeah, so you got
it's working, don't break it.
Yeah. It's like, I don't need to know how to do that.
We
It's
ever learning.
Nah, you got to stay humble, because what happens is you get a call from the big boys, and then you end up in that room, and they see what you don't know,
and then you expose. Yeah, for
It's
sure.
like, yeah.
For sure.
But that's the same thing that can happen in music,
Yeah,
right?
that's what I was thinking about.
Oh, yeah.
Music studio. When you get to the lab and somebody he be like, oh,
Press
bro.
play, and you like, man, hey, can I go to the house and get my 8? Like, so what?
Like, let me put my aux
Leave?
cord in then, because we're gonna be just testing and tootling around.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
So
The other one about
second question.
the Violated.
Yeah.
So what prepared me for that was I did a documentary called #Senseless, and it was about parents who lost children to gun violence.
Oh, okay.
So when I shot that documentary, that joint was heavy. I wasn't prepared, because it was like when sitting across from a mother whose son's been murdered, and she's, one of the questions we would ask is, tell me about the day that your child got murdered. Tell me what that day was like. And so they're going through the last time they talked to their kid and when they got the call that they were dead. And it was like, it was heavy, man. It was like the first day of shooting. I went home like, dang,
I didn't think it was gonna be
That
this.
depression almost jumped up. Like, hold on.
I had to go decompress. Yeah. But going through that process kind of prepped me for Violated. So #Violated is a documentary about sexual assault and sexual abuse. So I interview people who've been through molestation and things of that nature, even men that had been through that. And so by that time, it was like I had kind of learned how to prep myself emotionally to hear these stories, and even still it's heavy. So we'll be dropping that hopefully the end of this year. You just got to get it edited. But yeah.
Definitely.
And one more thing on that, like, how did you get the people to open up about something like that on camera?
It wasn't easy, but it wasn't hard because I had kind of built up a reputation. So it was like when I put the call out for interview subjects on social media, people responded, and you'd be surprised, like people have been waiting to tell their story, because so many people feel like they haven't been heard, or they feel like they haven't, especially with the Senseless documentary, because it's like even people who lost their children to gun violence, if their story was on the news, it's like once that is over, it kind of goes away and nobody's talking about it. And so they look for opportunities to tell their story. And I only had one person with the Violated documentary where I can't use her interview because she was just so tight. And I'm trying to loosen her up. I'm trying to, ask softball questions to get her comfortable. And she was just giving me like one word answers the whole thing. It was like, okay.
So that's what I go through every day as a social worker, and I work in the domestic violence field.
Wow.
Yeah. I work for a shelter where we go through this interview process, and sometimes gauging their level of comfortability helps a lot. But it's a tight thing when you get into those conversations. But like you said, a lot of people want other people to know because it kind of helps the next generation or whoever's coming back that feel like they can't talk about it or they can't be vulnerable enough to let people know that they've been violated. You know what I mean? So A lot of people, they don't want to go through it. It's uncomfortable, but they know that getting that story out will help somebody else.
Absolutely.
You know, that documentary is definitely going to help somebody that's struggling and haven't been able to talk about it. If you're going through it, 988 or 9, whatever the numbers are, call and talk to somebody. It's a shelter and there's somebody that can talk to you right now. So I know that's my soapbox, but go ahead, Joe.
No, you good, bro. You good.
Every now and then we get a little serious around here.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know, and when we're on set, you know, I do whatever I have wine there or something, like if you need to take a shot,
to get yourself
loosen up, you know, whatever you need. I got tissue over there. You know, I try to create a safe space for them to really open up, because you'd be surprised, a lot of these people have never talked about it. You know, so a lot of times on camera with me is the first time they lived it. It's in here, but now this is the first time where they're telling the story in detail of what they went through.
That unpacking stage is crazy.
Trying to pull that wall down that they put up the block.
Yeah.
That's probably the hardest part. Like, because you got to think about with trauma. Sometimes with trauma, like we'll put a big ass wall up, this cinder block wall, and it's like you start talking about it, and it's like I only can give you spots and blemishes of it, because really
I've blocked it out.
I've tried to block it out of my mind when it's really right there, but it's like no, the trauma be so severe that you know, like we try to defer from it. And I can only imagine, man, I think doing the documentaries that you do, how it affects you in your own life when you go home, when you finish, and you really have to really what's the word?
Decompress.
Unpack.
Not just decompress, but just have all of this stuff in your head, man. And I kind of would dread that, bro. Like, what kind of measurements do you take to kind of get your mind away from it being in it?
Yeah. So, I mean, prayer, you know, fasting, you know, I might have a glass of wine. You know, I might.
Cobain Report, some Tito's if you want some. Y'all know you say in Jesus' name, but y'all know this the Cobain Report.
Yeah, because him talking about it got me kind of like,
but
for real, bro.
But the
like,
crazy thing,
trauma's real.
To double back on what he was saying, our community is one of the ones that don't talk about it the most.
Don't talk about it.
We feel so unsafe. So,
Yeah.
like you were saying, I can imagine trying to break down the walls, because our community is taught to just move on. And don't let it be a woman.
Yep. A lot of them do.
They are taught to just, you put that and you just keep going, because you have to take those kids to school. You have to feed. It's things that are still going nonstop.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not just women. Men go through it as well. I deal with, as we call them, SA victims all the time that are males. It's not just a feminine thing, but our community, we won't talk about it. And men definitely won't talk about it.
Yeah.
Have you had a chance to interview some men, or was it just you have?
Yep,
They were vulnerable enough to be able to get to you?
It was a couple of men that I interviewed for the documentary. One of them is a prominent figure in the city. He was molested by his football coach in high school. And he talked about how, you know, it fried his wiring. Like he, you know, became very promiscuous because now he's worried about his manhood. He needs to make himself feel like a man. So and you know, he talked about how he didn't want to tell his dad because he knew his dad would kill the coach, and he just went through a lot, man. And it really took him till he got older to really put all the, because that's the other thing, people don't connect the dots a lot of times between what they went through and how it affects them now 20 years later, and why I am the way I am now from something that happened in my teens or my childhood, you know. Then there was another guy that I interviewed. He was actually molested by a female babysitter. So, you know, a lot of times, men, we look at it like, oh, you got molested by a woman? Shoot, no, it's like, nah, it was traumatic for him.
No, it happens.
If you don't want to, you don't want to.
Yeah, he's a kid and she's a teenager.
I went through the same thing. This crazy part is I didn't unpack this with people until I think I was just working at my previous shelter I was at. We were all sitting having a conversation, and they were talking about certain things, and they were like, and I'm sitting there bragging like, yeah, it ain't never happened to me. I was like, you know, mine was a foster girl that was 16, and I was like 11, 12. It was like, newsflash.
It happened
to you too.
Yeah, 100%.
And when I sat, I had to literally ground for a minute. You know what I'm saying? I took a seat on the floor and was like, wait a minute, they not, wait. Wait. So I have not been molested or not have been molested? I'm so lost. What is happening here? Can somebody unpack this with me? 16-year-old foster child girl, and then, oh yeah, it did happen to me. And once I came to the realization, it gave me a different kind of like comfort level to be able to, I guess, even identify with the people that I was interviewing or having these, you know, because I understand what you go through where you feel like, as a man, you're like, nah, I ain't about to talk about that.
Right.
I'm just gonna put that in the back and keep it moving because even though it was a woman, you like, it don't matter because it was a girl.
Right.
You know, it was just like, no, it's cool, but it's not.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, it's really not.
It's really not.
T-Mail, I know you itching because we've been hogging. I'm going to let you go ahead. He the real journalist. Okay. We just play it by, we got the thing, but he the real one. So I'm going to go ahead.
Good. We vibe.
He do the research. He do it all. So go ahead.
Yeah, now, and with the movies and the music and everything you do, you also, back in 2018, you created a streaming platform for some of those, genres and everything. What gave you that idea, to come up with like a streaming platform to get like your movies and music and different stuff like that? So it's called Mainstream, right?
Yes, it's called Mainstream. Good job.
Shut up. Yeah, he a real one.
Okay. So what happened was I was shooting these documentaries and people kept saying, well, what are you going to do with them once they're done? And so people don't know. They be like, you should put it on Netflix. You can't just put stuff on Netflix. It's
That's
like,
me asking you, how you put my show on Tubi?
and so I was like, man, what if I create my own streaming platform? I'm like, but that's probably crazy to do, And so once I started, one thing I will do research. You know what I'm saying? I should build this building. I'm going to go do research on how to build a building. You know what I mean? And so once I really got into the research, I'm like, oh, it's not, it's not easy, but it's not that much to it as what I thought. And so I came up with the name. And so the first thing that I did was in 2021, I did a live stream concert of Dorinda Clark Cole. Oh, we went in a TV studio, took a band, background singers, and we shot her in concert. And then I launched Mainstream, and we literally sold tickets like it was a real concert, and we streamed it out, and it was a success. So what I did, that was like my tester, the test of water. Then I pulled back, and so now we're getting ready to relaunch at the beginning of next year. So Mainstream will be TV, film, podcast, music, and live stream events, all on one platform. Awesome. It'll be on iOS apps, it'll be on Android apps, it'll be on smart TV apps. So we're just right now putting together the team, and we're getting ready to start licensing content. It will not just be a black streaming platform. It'll be all genres, all cultures, because I want everybody money.
No.
And it'll be free.
Yeah.
It'll be a free ad-supported platform. Yeah.
So what I noticed, though, and I know you're about to go to another, Lil Boosie did the same thing for his movie. He started the way for them to be able to get, he charged a crazy amount of money. Shout out to Lil Boosie. I know the bag was heavy on that movie. But, I think it's a great idea for us to start our own ways to distribute our content.
Yes.
It's okay to say, I'm going to Apple, or I'm going to go like we do with all the places that we distribute to. I ain't shouting nobody up for free. But... You feel me? We trying to get our sponsorship.
I feel you. Yes, sir.
We distribute all this, but to have the power to be able to own it and really distribute it like you want to, that is a crazy feeling. Yeah. Because they have, shout out to Charity. I watched Charity drop her last song. She's coming on, she'll be on to this season. But I watched her drop a song on iTunes, and it was doing numbers, and she took it down.
Wow.
And everybody was inboxing her, and she was posting everybody's screenshot of all of it. And she was like, if you really want the song, here's the link. Just buy it from me directly, because I don't have to share my money with anybody. Streaming platforms are paying what, 0.0003 cent per stream. What is that, bro?
Yeah.
What is that? As a music industry person, how do you feel about these digital streaming platforms playing us with the money? Just to be real, I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah. So what the problem is that when you have, so what we wanted to get rid of the gatekeepers. We wanted to get rid of the labels. And so we created the streaming platforms that do just that. I think what the problem is the unintended consequence was now everybody can put music out. So, for example, with Spotify, there are 200 million songs on Spotify. 200 million
Crazy.
songs. So there's no way, even though that royalty number is ridiculous, there's no way for them to pay anymore and stay in business. Because if they pay more with 200 million songs, you know what I'm saying? Like, how do you keep the lights on?
No, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? And
You got to pay your workers.
yeah. So
pay the people to work there.
I think that's the problem is that, you know, you just got to find other ways to monetize your content through live events and things of that nature. Or if you can build a fan base and, like you said, create a website or something where they can get it from you directly. Yeah. That's the only way around that, because it's just no way to pay that many people more money for their streams and keep the lights on.
So I think even with us being an independent podcast, you know, we're trying to find ways that we can come live and bring live events and have them, so that way we're able to bring our show on the road, but actually own our own. Take this right here, what you see, and make it live.
Yep.
Whether it's here, different cities, whatever it may be, you know, we're looking into doing something like that as well, because we want to own our product. We are working very hard, very diligently. Everybody's on time every week. So
that's
we're
important.
Almost every week.
Hey.
Whoop.
Flights be a bitch.
Where the button at? He got the button. He ain't hit the button for himself. T-Mail, please get us back on track, because you know if you go too long, Cecil will take us left. Go ahead.
And most definitely, you mentioned about like the labels going away, and you know the artists having a little bit more direct to consumer way to go. Now, with that, do you think that the writer strike would have probably been avoided if it would have been more of a direct to consumer type of like thing beforehand, versus depending on, you know, like Paramount and different stuff like that to, you know, run these films?
Well, what they were fighting for was, you know, more pay, as well as a lot of the AI stuff that's happening now, and you know, getting some of the rules changed so that they could be fairly compensated, so that the studios can't just use their likeness or their image, because you know, this AI stuff it's
wicked.
It's maturing at an alarming rate, to the point to where even I watched an interview with the guy who created AI back in the 80s. He's like,
it's moving too fast.
It's moving. Yeah, you saw that?
Yeah. I heard about it.
He's like, man,
I didn't build this for this.
Exactly. He's like, things that we thought it would take 8 years for AI to develop into, it took 3 months. So even like some of the, I forgot the name of the platform where like you can literally tell it to create a scene for a movie.
ChatGPT.
Yeah, but it's another Solaris or something like that.
Oh, okay.
It's like,
no shout out to y'all though. Y'all ain't paying. Go ahead. I'm serious about these sponsorship dollars.
You gotta be.
We working hard. You hear me?
Yeah.
Somebody gonna have to come through.
And it's like, you know, when I went to their website and I saw like it's still in its infancy stage, so it's still got. But I'm like, this is only going to get better.
Yeah.
Like it's literally you talk and tell it what you want, and it creates it, the scene and everything. It's like, whoa, this is getting scary, man.
No, it is. As a person, as a person who does movies, right? And I hear you talking very highly of it. I know that you are a great person that communicates with people well and all of that. Have you ever worked with a person or actress or something? I don't want to hear no names, so ain't okay. Something that's irritated your soul to where you said all the good things we done heard about the movies from you. Give me one good one where he's like, oh nah.
Say their name.
Don't say their name.
I will not.
Where's my button at? Because I might want them to come on the podcast too.
That'll make them. If you say their name, they gonna come and try to defend themselves. Say their name,
this is
Joe.
Not Country Wayne. No.
Hey, but lean on me. Say their name, Joe.
I'll say the interview question. Anytime that you've ever had a difficult employee to work with.
You know what? Actually, I haven't, because I do a really good job of vetting people up front. And so you know, in the beginning when I'm casting, you know, I'm checking people's temperature. I'm checking their temperament, you know, and just trying to see, you know, as well as, so we hear this word thrown around a lot, blackball, right? So, you know, I ask around. If there's an artist, I'm sorry, an actor that's been in somebody else's movie, I'll ask, hey, bro, what would she like to work with?
So that's real when Monique be saying, y'all do be talking.
Oh, yeah, everybody talks. Like, all the producers talk amongst each other, but nobody says, don't work with this person.
They'll just tell you about it.
But they'll just tell what their experience was.
But that's anywhere you go when you check somebody's resume, right? Even with work.
Absolutely.
You do that call and you see, okay, is this person reliable? Are they able to come in? Are they able to do a certain thing or whatever it is? Everybody does their research and their background checks. You know what I mean? So that's not, but I'm glad that you haven't had that experience as a director. You know, I think, because I've seen actresses that were just like, oh, for real?
Yeah.
Watching some of these interviews from these actors and comedians now,
It's crazy.
It opens your eyes to realize, like, oh no, you really like that.
Now, I've heard stories. I've heard some horror stories from some of my compadres.
Local actresses or the
or
locals?
or what happened is
Labs?
somebody will do a movie and they'll cast like a C or D-list celebrity to be in the movie, and then that person come Hollywood style.
Is it our rappers more than anybody else? I'll say it.
Yeah, man, I've heard.
I know,
stories.
bro. I know you can. I know.
Yeah.
Rotten Tomatoes.
So it's like, keep it humble, guys. Come on, relax.
Yeah. But you know, it's that thing when, you know, they feel like they've worked to get to where they are, but they don't really know who they're in the room with.
Yeah.
Yes, right. You have the street clout, but there's another side of this business.
Yeah.
So go ahead, keep doing all that. But like you said, I'm going to have these conversations and let these people know.
Yeah.
Their rider is ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely.
Caesar is the king of the
Shit.
overpriced rider.
I need, hey Joe, if I send you my rider, please have everything on it.
His rider is ridiculous.
Or I'm stepping, and listen, before you leave me,
go ahead, Caesar.
I'm coming to the door, and I'm going to let you know. You better go get it.
So look,
Or I'm out this bitch.
hit the button. Why did I give him control over the button before I get this to T-Mail? Because I know T-Mail gonna give me something professional. I want to say something. I remember being 14 years old, riding in my brother Derek. Shout out to Derek Anthony Tyson. I remember riding in his truck, and we used to live in Louisiana when my daddy moved to Morgan City, and we didn't have access to good gospel music. So we used to import our music from the D. Back then they had a thing that you would order from, or you could order from God's World.
Yeah.
Shout out to God's World, Larry, all y'all.
Yeah.
And I remember my brother getting your CD, the first one, the white T-shirt, hand down. Uncle, you got the photo of that or no? Or you got the other photo? You got the other one? Okay, we got we got 2010 Project Joe. We got that joint too.
Right.
Because I want to ask you about the intro on that album. So I'm going back to music because it's a reason.
Okay.
But I remember us first riding in when he first heard that album, bro. It didn't come out the car for about 2 months, and every morning, this Joe Smith is kicking. Niggas used to say kicking back in the day.
Right.
Bro, this kicking, nigga. We used to ride around. He wouldn't take, it was you and Dawkins and Dawkins.
Wow.
You know, same era, so you know I ain't lying. This is that same season of life.
Yeah.
Bro, Dietrich Haddon 2 Chainbreaker. That was the Chainbreaker era.
Hey, man.
We used to listen to them 3 things so much, bro. You've always been like a big dog to me in my brain because my brother set the platform so high for you when I was young.
Yeah.
So like anything that you dropped, I always be like, oh snap, Joe, but I know it's gonna be heat.
Yeah, thanks,
you know what I'm
bro.
saying? Like I've always, since I was like 14, you always been a big dog to me. So I always was like, that's Joe Smith. Like, that's Joe Smith.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When other people like, nah. And I text my brother before this interview. He told me, bro, I gotta watch that. Niggas is really still your fans from back in the day, like little, like, you know what I mean? Before the movie. So when you switched over to the movies, I watched it. You know, I watched from a distance. I just was like, all right, let's see what Uncle Joe gonna pull. But then you start knocking him out the park, and I'm like, oh, he's serious about this. Then you got award shows and all this stuff, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, no, this is it. This is it. So my personal flowers to you while you here, because I never know you're gonna come back, right?
Right.
Just know, in my head, little Greg Davis, Cobain to y'all. You are still one of them ones to me, and I believe that anybody from my era generation understands the impact that you've had on the music here in Detroit locally, whether it's through Clark Sisters or whatever else that you've done. So go ahead, T-Mail. I had to get my flowers.
I wanted
to get my flowers.
I know. I want to ask
Thanks,
this.
man. I appreciate that.
I had to give you my flowers while you here.
Much love, bro.
5 of the best talents musically in Detroit that you've worked with.
Oh yeah, give
me
please.
5.
Your favorite 5, please. Your Mount Rushmore. I know, because I be seeing you on everybody's keyboard.
I know you like. Give me 10, man.
We talking about Chris Jones and all that.
Yeah,
you got to
so
come on.
I gotta shout out so that I could take up the whole 5 with the Clark.
So we just gonna put them in one. We'll just say
so
the Clark Legacy
is
one.
One. Okay. Fred Hammond.
Okay.
I did a tour playing keys for Fred Hammond.
How did that feel?
Back in 2005. It was incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. Because Fred runs his stuff like
Tight work, baby.
yeah, it's like
Him and John.
It's like you on a R&B or pop.
Him and John.
I just was out with them with this last the worship. Mm-hmm. Man, and I was just looking at him, bro. I was admiring everything he do, bro.
Yeah.
He get on stage, he make sure that the guys is doing the work, but when they come off stage, he makes sure that the work is being done in the back.
Yeah.
That's real leadership.
Yeah.
And a lot of church people don't got that. So I'll be like,
sure.
that's why I know Uncle Joe. That's why when I be looking at Uncle Joe's stuff and I listen to Uncle Joe's stuff, when he say that leadership,
No, for sure.
he got that, bro.
Yeah.
Who number 3?
Chris Jones. Definitely Chris Jones he was so charismatic and he just was so
Like a rock.
Yeah.
Like I'm from that era, y'all.
Yeah.
Number 4.
Shucks. Tasha Page Lockhart.
Shout out to Sis.
Shout out to Tasha.
She's supposed to come on the show, but her butt moved.
Yeah.
When you come to the city, you know where you gotta come. Somebody
Her
came,
ass
so you
moved. When you go to your mama church,
hit the button. I'm so
Get-
sick of you cussing.
Hey, listen, Tasha. When you get to your mama church, come over here, bro. It's
You
down
know the
street.
vibes. We are real friends
Dang.
from back then, fool.
Right.
All right, come on, give us number 5.
Number 5. You know what? She's unheralded. Melody Armstrong.
Oh my God, Sis is cold. I remember my first time hearing her on that Dietrich Haddon joint back in the day when she was young, like 15,
Yeah.
16.
Yeah.
No, she cold. She's super cold. You know
Yeah,
me
I've
as
been
one of
trying to
them
get her
ones.
to do a record for the longest, but she's just scared. No. So I'm like, okay.
She be killing that praise and worship though and be posting the clips. She a beast. I seen her at my son's graduation this past, I think it was like May or June. So shout out to the Bell family.
Yeah.
Vanessa, I inboxed you the other day. You can reply. I want you to come on too. You a legend. Yeah, for sure. Go ahead, T-Mill.
Yeah, so Joe, out of all of the movies, you know, you got your new feature film, Dance with the Devil. Told you a little briefly about how, you know, that story impacted me. You know, haven't even seen the full movie, just seen the trailer. Where do you get, you know, the ideas from, like when you do these movies?
Man, they come from so many different places. So Dance with the Devil, it started out as like so a lot of my movies, like A Good Man, Dance with the Devil, Good Man 2, what they show is like, I call it the transfer of power, right? So for example, in Dance with the Devil, this old guy is living by himself, and these 3 gangsters do a home invasion to rob him, and they don't know he has a dark past. And so it's that moment when the hunter turns into the prey. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you thought you had the power in this situation. You don't really understand my man really who got the power.
Got him.
So I like telling those types of stories, you know,
No,
because we live in such a era where everybody's so arrogant, everybody's so cocky, everybody think they so tough, everybody think they so this. It's like, okay,
We'll see.
Yeah.
When you meet a real savage, let's see what happens
Exactly.
when I turn into a real. So, we about to get out of here. We're gonna wrap it up, but I want to get one more thing.
That was just deep what he said.
No, it
though,
is,
because
it
that's
is.
so real.
Because-
listen, sometimes like you'll catch a hyena.
yeah,
You'll catch a hyena running up the back of a lion, not knowing. They don't know what they running up to.
yep.
And man,
You run
Joe,
into that
listen,
joint.
was I starring in that movie?
So what we gonna say before I get to my one thing, I want to talk about that intro from the 2010 project.
Okay.
I'm gonna say when you do a podcast scene, you don't need the 85 South Show. you got us. We
Yes,
will
sir.
come and get in the scene.
Cobain
You
Report.
need.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to y'all.
Shout
the
out to the
y'all the big
85.
brothers, but we local. We gonna go and do that with us and Joe. But anyway, so in 2010, there's an intro on that project.
Okay.
It's a 4-minute, almost 5-minute intro, and I believe there are 2 different pastors prophesying everything that you're doing right now into your future.
Yep.
That was 2010.
Yes.
14 years ago. The
Yep.
prophecies was before that because you dropped the album 14 years ago. Talk to me about how it feels to watch God work in your life in the presence of everybody.
It's crazy, man. But it's not crazy, but it is crazy living it out, you know. And I put those prophecies on my album because they were so impactful to me. But even when I received them, I didn't realize what the scope of it really was going to be, right? So I had enough confidence and faith in God that these were real, true men of God giving the word of God for my life that I'm like, I'm going to put it out there. And one thing my bishop, shout out to Bishop Wayne T. Jackson, one thing he always says is you'll know if a prophet is a false prophet or not because the word will come to pass.
And it has.
And if it don't come to pass, then you know
Both of them things came to pass.
Yeah, absolutely. So, it's a blessing, man. I just give all glory to praise and honor to God, man, for just being faithful over to His word, you know, and I'm humbled by the fact that He chose me because He could have chose so many other people, and that's why I feel even more when I came out of COVID. It's like I gotta go harder with honoring because I believe when God puts something in you, a talent, an idea, or whatever. That's an investment that He made in us, and we owe Him a return on His investment.
I say that all the time, brother.
Yeah, that's dope.
I say that all the time.
Yeah.
To not do what God taught you or gave you to do is basically like trying to hand Him back His gift. Your arm's not long enough to reach to box with God.
You hindering yourself when you saying that I'm waiting on God because He waiting on you.
He waiting on
sure.
you.
Yeah.
It is, bro. I swear. So we about to wrap this up. I'm gonna give everybody one round as we normally do. I want to thank Joe Smith, the legend. I said what I said. I'm looking hard into the camera. Pause. that was a zany
Major
pause.
$60.
I can't cuss on this show. Anyway, all right. So we're gonna start this time with Caesar. Tell him what you got going. Tell him where you at. Tell him all the good stuff. Wrap it on up.
Listen, as I always say on everyone, wrap it up, BET.
Like a commercial.
Don't have no kids. Wrap it up. But listen, you can follow me on Instagram at Caesar. Caesar, A-H. C-E-Z-A-H. C-E-Z-A-H. Listen, don't go on there looking for
pizza puffs.
Don't go on there looking for the pizza puffs because you only gonna see Little Caesars.
I am not Little Caesar.
I'm not Little Caesars. They just call me Caesar. That's where you can find me. If you know me, you can find me on Facebook. Uncle Joe definitely following me on Facebook. But it's cool. Listen, what I want y'all to do is y'all gotta go with God and you gotta keep God first. And listen, and everything that Uncle Joe got going on, I need y'all to really tap in. Like go on this website. Like go on this page. Hit the links. Go to all his links, bro. Go follow him. Like, for real. Let's support. This some black. Like, not only because this Uncle Joe, but it's black. Like, and we always complaining about what they're taking from us.
Yes.
Let's make us the prominent. Like, let's do it like that. Like, listen, I'm so happy that Uncle Joe came by here to talk to me.
Pleasure.
You know, like, even though I could talk to him outside, but talking on camera is a little different. And
it is.
being able to help somebody. You know, with those films, like I appreciate you for that, like, sir, because you never know, like those films might be the gateway of somebody being healed, or being delivered, or taking the right path when they were just about to go left.
Yep.
You know, like they might be about to go bye-bye, and then they see your end. It's like, whoa, maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I don't want my mom.
Because I don't want them to turn into the victim.
For real.
I'm the prey.
No, I don't want Joe to have to highlight my mama.
No, for sure.
You know, and then I definitely don't want the hyena to come to the lion because this lion will bite you.
Right.
It'll bite you.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
too.
no, nothing, no punt.
No.
But the lion will bite you. Like, and I like being tamed. Like,
Yeah.
I'm tamed by God right now. So yeah, Unc, like I've been watching. And
Thanks, bro.
Like everybody that comes on here, man, like I try to I look at it all week and try to get something from it.
Yeah.
I look for substance in everything, like
Absolutely.
even in my jokes and everything. Like I need a little bit of substance. So when I did look at your movie and the documentary, I'm like, man, like damn, Unc, like I'm about to sit down and watch this, but me sitting down watching that probably stopped me from doing something I ain't had no business. Wow. So I appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right? Those my flowers, all right?
Yeah, for sure.
That. Thank you,
sir.
bro.
For
Yeah.
sure. T-Mail, go ahead.
Again, appreciate you all for joining us and tuning in. Like Joe said, stop playing with God, saying that you waiting on him to make your move. If you got the gift, the talents, the skills, he's already given you whatever it is you needed. Take advantage of it. He's already given you the time frame because he already gave you the gift. Go ahead and use it and bless people with it. Go with God. You'll be blessed. Tune in. Again, like, subscribe, share, tell a friend. The Cobain Report.
That's right. Go ahead, Uncle Joe. Let them know where to find you at, where to get your movies, what you got coming next. Tell them everything that you want them to know. That's your hard camera right there.
All right. Well, you can find me on Instagram, Millionaire Joe, all one word. Also on Facebook, Joe Millionaire Joe Smith. Follow me there. You can catch my movies on Tubi, the streaming platform Tubi. So I got 3 movies up right now and another one coming this quarter. On March the 30th, I'm doing the premiere for my latest movie, which is A Good Man 2. That'll be at the Riviera Cinema. If you're here local in Detroit, it's the Riviera Cinema in Farmington Hills. So come check it out. We'll be there next week on the 30th at 7:30. And we're gonna have some fun. So check out my movies. And if you want to update on Mainstream, which is when the streaming my streaming platform, and you don't know when it's gonna launch, just go to mainstream.tv. Now Mainstream is spelled with 2 E's instead of EAM. It's MAINSTREEM.TV. And it's a landing page there. You can just sign up, put your email address in there so that we can update you when we're about to go live. So keep your eyes and ears open for that. And much more to come. We shooting some more movies this year, and we gonna keep them coming.
You looking for actresses or actors right now? Where can they find you at?
Always looking for new talent. You can definitely go on my social media. We're working on my website now, so go on my social media, inbox me. I check my regular inbox as well as that other inbox when you ain't their friend, and they go in that other one. I check that probably.
That's the one that's not holy though. Yeah, it be all kind of unholy documents.
Unholy ghosts.
All right, let me get us out of here. So Uncle Joe, tell him where to find. Hit him up if you want to act.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna be slide. We all gonna slide.
I think I definitely want to act. Listen, I'm a
we
really
gonna
good
get
actor.
Come on, get us on.
Listen, I'm trying to be a star.
Look, he said he tired of actors coming in and got no experience. You never acted before. You don't know nothing about acting. He said he wanted you to have some type of experience.
Well, we ain't got no experience.
Y'all see me? Hey, listen, y'all seen me last week's show.
Yeah,
I act like a wholesome individual.
All right. To wrap up, I want to thank my Uncle Joe Smith. I'm not gonna keep saying it. I'm gonna say Millionaire Joe, soon to be Trillionaire Joe. You know what I'm saying? Running the Detroit movie scene, of course, with all of our other people, but you know the vibes, right? Yes. So I want to thank you for coming out today. This has been a wonderful show. This has been a wrap on episode 17. I didn't even say it.
Let's go.
17.
Congratulations, man. Yeah. All right. So as I always say, it's a wrap.
Bitch!
He said it, I mean, I'm saved.
Hey, Joe, what do you know?